Okay, Unit 3 Assessment Review. If you're taking this one, there's 13 problems, but they're all different. They're not just like cookie cutter. You gotta know your stuff. So you're gonna make, if you're working on this from a remote location, make your 8 boxes of doom, and we'll be doing 1 through 6 on here. Or 1 through 5, sorry, because the people with the packets, number 6 is on the back page. So number 1, you got 9 over 2 equals x over 25. Well, this is pretty easy, okay? 225, 9x, cross multiply and divide, okay? Because 9 times 25 will equal 2 times x, which means I can just take 9 times 25 and then divide that product of 225 by 2. 112.5. Okay, number 2, different story. 3 over 3x plus 4 equals 2 over x minus 4. Now that's a more complex one, okay? So I know that this times this, a times b equals this times this, c times d. So equals, you make a couple parentheses on each side of the equation, and we're taking a times b on one side, c times d on the other. Remember, it's ab, not ab, okay? ab are diagonals. So a is 3, b is x minus 4, c is 2, d is 3x plus 4, and we have to apply the distributive property first with the 3. I don't like that minus, make it plus negative. So I'm taking 3 times x and 3 times negative 4. If you really want to put a 1 in front of that x, do it. It's still 3x, so negative 12. So line up your equals. You can, again, if you want to put the 1 there, do it, or you can just do x. So it's 3x plus negative 12. In the meantime, over here, we distribute the 2. So 2 times 3x times 4. So that's 6x, and that's 8. So we're going to have 6x plus 8. Now we're not going to make our wall now because there's two different x's. They're on opposite sides. So we mark the smaller one and take it to 0. So it's positive 3x. So I will be subtracting 3x from 6x. So line up the equals. You have negative 12. Then that's 3x plus 8. Now the wall can come in. We have multiply by 3 plus 8. I like to circle my multiplication. I got an 8 outside. Some people struggle. They're like, well, 8 and negative 12, which one's smaller? No, that rule only applies for x's, okay? When I'm looking at the numbers not multiplied by x, I get rid of the one that's on the same side of the x. So minus 8, minus 8, line up your equals. Negative 12 minus 8, think of a number line. If you're at negative 12 and backwards 8, you're at negative 20, okay? Okay, then I got my answer after I divide negative 20 by 3. Now, if you write negative 6.6 repeating, that's fine. If you don't like that, you can go second, PRB equals, and you can write negative 6 2/3. It doesn't matter to me. I will accept either format of the answer, the decimal or the fraction. Okay, then we get into the percent proportions. What is 63% of 150? Okay, remember the percent proportion with is and of, okay? You can line your percent over 100%, then is of. So first let's talk percent. Well, I have 63%. After of, I see 150, so the is what I don't know. So it'll be 63 times 150, 100 times x. Simple proportion to solve, okay? So I have to find the product, 63 times 150. Now 100 times x equals this, so I can divide by 100 to find my answer, 94.5. Don't put a percent label, because it wasn't a percent. The percents are over here. We have our percent. Okay, 5, or 4, my bad. 150% of what number is 34? Okay, 100%, percent, and then is of. Okay, so percent I have 150. After of it says what number, so x is the of. That's what I don't have the total over here. And 34. Okay, so I know that 100 times 34 is equal to 150 times x. Well, let's find what 100 times 34 is, because I can just divide that product then by 150. And I get 22.6 repeating. That I'll accept that, or you can go second PRB equals, or 22 2/3. Okay. You can put 22.6 repeating if you'd like. Okay, 5. What percent of 32 is 40? You don't just divide 32 by 40. Stop that, okay? What percent? So we don't have the percent. Here's why you don't do that. After of, it says 32, and then 40. So it's going to be over 100%, because 40 is over 32. So 100 times 40, I can find that product pretty easily. Then I'll divide that by 32, because that equals 32 times x, so it's 125% this time. So, see, if you just are dividing the smaller by the bigger, that's wrong. That's 80%. That's totally wrong, okay? That's why the is of is important. Okay, number 6. Convert 45 pounds to ounces, and we have the rate for ounces and pounds. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so again, proportions will work. 16 ounces, 1 pound is your first ratio. Then ounces, pounds. Now I want to go 2 ounces, so I don't have the ounces, but I have 45 pounds that need to be converted to ounces. So I take 45 times 16. That's equal to 1 times x, so just divided by 1 would be 720. So 720 ounces. Sorry, I'm writing against a spiral, so it looks like crap. Number 7, I'll attempt to draw the triangles on the document. So you got 7.5, 18, 5x. You need to solve for x, find the value for x. So match the sides up. 7.5 matches up with 5. Okay, that's a scale factor. 7.5, 5. Then 18 would match the x. Okay. Or wait a second, that was wrong. That is not how I taught it. Yeah, no, that is how I taught it. 7.5 would match up with 5. Okay. Then go back, 18 has to be across from 7.5. That would match up with x. Okay. So I take 5 times 18. That's equal to 7.5 times x. So divide by 7.5. I get 12. So x equals 12. Now you can check your answer by doing this. Take your 7.5 divided by 5. Okay. 1.5. Take your 18 divided by 12, 1.5. Okay. So 7.5 over x equals 8. 7.5 over 5 equals 18 over x. Okay, we're getting into story problems now. In the first 4 games of the season, a soccer team scored 10 goals. Goals needs to be x, y needs to be... Games is x, y is goals, and the reason why is because on the goals per game makes more sense than games per goal, because there's more goals scored within a game. There's not games within a goal. If this trend continues, how many goals will the team score in the remaining 18 games? So we're solving for the goals. So I've got games and goals. Games is x, goals is y, and then per, it's always y over x, so goals per game. Now goals per game, We don't have, okay? They didn't tell us. Now, could I divide 10 by 4 and figure that out? Yeah, then you'd have to use the line and all that. But so let's make a table. Okay, so X, Y, please label your X and Y, games related to goals. So I didn't have the goals per game, so I make a 0 and block it, not 0, 1, 2 this time. So 4 games is 10 goals. Since we don't have that, we will not go 1, 2 after the 0. Now I've got 18 games. I don't know how many goals. That's a question mark. Now jump back up here. If you don't play any games, you don't score any goals. So the fact that both the units would begin at 0, the Y begins at 0 along with the X, means we can make a proportion. The line is not needed. See, if you divide 10 by 4, then you get 2.5, which is correct, 2.5 times X. But then people are going to make the line, they're going to get confused because they're not going to really see that 0 at the beginning. Okay, it'd be 2.5x equals Y, and then yeah, you could plug in your 18, I guess, but I think a ratio is better. Okay, it's always Y over X, don't forget that. Okay, so Y, we got 10 to 4, and then 18 for X, and we don't have Y. So 10 times 18 equals 4 times X. So 10 times 18 is 180, if that's equal to 4 times X, so 45. So 45 goals. Now your table, that makes sense. 4 games, 10. And you can also say, okay, 10 divided by 4, 2.5. What's 45 divided by 18? 2.5. Okay, number 9 is a different ball game. Get ready to use that ABC key. If I can paint 3 statues in 20 minutes, I can paint 3 statues in 20 minutes. My friend can paint 1 statue in 10 minutes. How long will it take us to paint 12 states, not statues, working together? Minutes. So I've got statues and minutes. So the time unit's the X, the statues is my Y, so per. Statues per minute. I have no idea what are the statues per minute just by reading that, okay, for either person. I mean, it's not 3, that's over a course of 20 minutes, and it's not 1, that's over a course of 10 minutes. There's no statues per minute that you know of at this point. Now we're going to make 2 tables because there's 2 people. Minutes, statues. Minutes, statues. So we don't have a statues per minute for either table, so 0 block, 0 block. But I do know there was 23 statues, 20 minutes, and then I jumped to the other table because he can do 1 in 10. Now what about the 12 statues? Well, you're working together, so I write 12 statues, question mark, minutes, because that's the answer to the problem. Now, if you don't work, you don't get anything done. Same with this guy. So we're not going to make lines because there wouldn't be really a beginning amount, so we're going to design a proportion. 2 equal ratios. But we have to add another ratio in because there's another person working. Remember, it's Y over X. You got to remember that. Okay? So 3 statues, 20 minutes. 3 20ths. You put 20 over 3, the problem's done. You're never going to get it. 1 to 10. Okay? Now 12 statues. Now again, it was 3 statues. 20 minutes. Probably should label these. I'm being kind of lazy. Okay? Statues, minutes. 12 statues. Make sure you're putting the 12 there. X minutes. Now we're going to add these right here, okay? Now you can do it the old-fashioned way and get common denominators. If you had a multiplication table, the 20th row, you'd look in that. So the first multiple of 20 is 20, and 20 is also a multiple of 10, okay? So 20, so it would stay 320 times 2 times 2, 5 20ths. That ends up being 8 20ths, okay? You could put 8 20ths, but if you add on your calculator 3 20ths plus 1/10, you get 1/4, Okay, wait a second. I jacked that up somehow. 1 times 2 is 5. What the heck? Okay, 5 over 20. Well, 5 over 20 is 1 over 4 reduced by 5. Okay, now I would probably add those on the calculator so I can see. So 1/4. So together they can get 1 statue in 4 minutes. They have 12 statues. So 4 times 12 is 48. That equals 1 times x. So it's just 48. Okay, 10, 11, 12 are going to go on the same page. So I'll line them up because it's fraction and percent word problems. Okay, 4/7 of all animals in the park were birds. There were 200 birds. How many animals were there? Okay, so 4/7, that's the rate. Now, across the 4, the bottom's your total, by the way. Okay, and then were birds, so you just put birds up here. Birds total. Now, I have one actual amount, 200. 200 birds, so 200. So I'm finding the total. So I take 7 times 200, and that is equal to 4 times x, so I divide by 4, 350. And it says how many animals were there, so 350 animals. 200 were birds, that's 4/7. Okay. Number 11, a racer has completed 5%. Okay, if it says of after the percent, line it over 100 right now. Okay. If it says of after it. If he has completed 10 laps, how many laps does a race have? So again, it's like this. You got your total, and the 5%, that's what he's completed. That's the percent, and then here's the actual amount completed over the actual total. Okay, the only actual number I have is 10. Well, it says he completed 10, so we put 10 and then cross multiply and divide. So 100 times 10 divided by 5, 200. 200 laps. Now sometimes they'll say the race has 200 laps. How many has he completed? So you wouldn't, if they gave you the 200 and you had to find the 10, you'd put 200 for your total, because 200 wouldn't be what he's completed. Okay, number 12, a watch that used to cost $89.99 is marked up 12%. Okay, it doesn't say of, so don't line that up over 100. Instead, you put plus 12% off to the side. Find the price of the watch after it's been marked up in price. So a plus or minus percent is percent times before equals after. So percent, well, we got to add something. We're going to add 100 plus 12, 112%. You got to put the decimal. So the percent is 1.12. Okay. Alright, so I'm finding the watch after it's been marked up. So there's X, and then the $89.99 is before. So it ends up a fairly easy problem because the X is by itself, and we just do the operation times 1.12 times 89.99. Now, I know that looks weird, but it says we want to find the price, so I go 2 digits, $100.78, but that 8 then rounds it to 179. Bam. Okay, now our last problem is number 13. 2 cars travel for the same amount of time. The first car travels 80 miles per hour. The second car travels 75 miles per hour. The faster car travels 40 miles further. Find the distance traveled by each car. So we're finding the miles. Distance is measured by miles. And when we're talking miles, hours, and speed, we want to use the speed, distance, time. Remember, speed is distance divided by time. We won't need that, but it does. Distance equals speed multiplied by time. And time equals distance divided by speed. Okay, so we're going to make our table. It's called the speed, distance, time table. So you're going to put fast, slow. So speed. Remember, speed is your miles per hour. distance, that's just your miles without the per hour. And then time is measured by hours here. Okay, so speed, I'm looking for miles per hour, and I have 80 miles per hour, 75. So 80, 75. Okay, the distance, that's just miles. It says 40 miles, but it doesn't say either car. The faster car travels 40 miles further, okay? Further. That doesn't mean just put 40 in for the fast car. You put a plus 40. Now, we still don't know either one of these, but we can write them both in terms of the same variable. So x plus 40 and x. So I got something there at least. The hours. The only thing you know about the time is that the times are the same. Okay, but we got to put something in here. Well, we're going to go then write it as distance over speed. So distance over speed, distance over speed. So the distance here is the expression x plus 40. The speed here is 80. The distance here is the x variable, and the speed is 75. Now these are the same. Okay, so I line them up as a proportion where x plus 40 over 80 equals x over 75. Alright, we can't just cross multiply and divide here. Okay, so we use the second option B. A times B is equal to C times D. So I find the product of A and B, and that's equal to C times D. Remember, don't go AB, okay? A is x plus 40 multiplied by 75. C is x multiplied by 80. Now this is easy. X times 80 is 80x. You can put the 1 in front of there, but it's still 80x. You don't distribute there, okay? Because if I put a 1, 80 times 1x is 80x. Now over here I'll slap the 1, so I'm going to have to distribute the 75. So 75 is distributed. The number by itself is distributed. Times it by 1x, times it by 40. So that's 75x plus 75 times 40, 3,000. Okay, so it's been distributed out. Now the wall's not ready because you have x's on opposite sides. So let's mark our smaller one. Get that to a 0. It's positive, so we're going to minus 75x. Go to the other side of the equation, subtract 75x. So that's 5x, 3,000. Now the wall comes out, but we just have the times 5. So 5 times what is 3,000? Well, let's divide by 5 and figure it out. 3,000 divided by 5 is 600. Okay, now go to your table and replace both those x's with 600 because these are the answers, these two here, because that's the miles. Okay, so 600 plus 40 is 640, and then the other one's just 600. All right.